Hello and welcome back. Much like submarine the Dreadnought, we are currently captainless, but Sam will return shortly.
I thought we'd all agreed that Fox was the captain now. I thought that was the...
Acting captain.
Yeah, I guess technically D's the... Well, I mean, we still don't know where Stevens is, so... He might...
D's not, basically signed off as medically unfit for duty, so... Unless I decide to change my mind...
I think the captain might be swimming in the engine.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was a fish all along.
Yeah.
That would explain why he chose to become a submarine captain, I guess.
Imagine being a fish that tantalizingly close to water and never being able to stretch your fins.
Here's a marine biology question. What sort of things live at 1,000 meters?
Terrible things. Unknown things.
Anglerfish?
Okay. Those are scary.
Where do we find blobfish?
They're probably around there as well.
Probably around somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen completely not apropos of nothing, because you just mentioned blobfish and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. But have you seen
blobfish?
Yeah, have you seen like they when they're at the whole thing why they look so like they do is because they've been taken out of water and are therefore in so like in water they look completely different to what they look like, what everybody thinks a blobfish looks like. Yeah, I'm sure out of our natural environment we'd all look really weird as well. So,
well, maybe that's a lesson that if you ever think you look ugly, maybe you're just under the wrong amount of pressure.
Wow,
that's deep. Yeah,
like that's pretty.
On that note,
roleplay and philosophy.
Thank you to everyone who took part in the hype train earlier. Thank you to how long ago since we've done our thank yous? I'm just going to go back as far as thank you to Cynical Gaming and the Shabby J who followed us before the session, I think. Thank you to Steve, Nightbites, ATCB Gaming, and me for the resubs, and Nightbites for the bits. And thank you to Scoot and Fruity for following. And that is a fantastic name.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Let's see. We're gonna go through the comments. I like this one. Made me smile as soon as I saw it. It's beginning to look a lot like Fishmen.
Everywhere I go.
We also have being adrift under the sea is marginally less terrifying than being adrift in space, I guess. Is it?
Well, so we can, we've blown the tanks. We're heading upwards. It's fine. It's not like, we've been disconnected from all of space and time.
And I suppose also heading upwards towards the surface in a submarine, like without any control, is not as bad as heading towards the Earth without any kind of control.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe it's varying degrees of dreadful, but like this is maybe slightly preferable, maybe.
Yeah, okay. You won me over. Silas is like an office worker when the fire drill is happening. So I know I'm not supposed to grab my bag, put my jacket on, and make a coffee, but I'm going to anyway, right? It's accurate.
Well, it's cold outside. You've got to keep something to keep you warm. Nice coffee.
Yeah. And, it's raining. You can't expect someone to just stand outside in the rain.
No. And if it was a fire, it'd be obvious anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah, completely.
Don't take fire advice from telling tales.
No, we are not legally responsible for any sort of trouble or pain you get into. 4242, the first thing to do is find out which crew member is an android. I hope that's not going to get thrown at us.
I have my suspicions.
We haven't seen what color we all bleed yet.
Yet.
Wow. Yeah, it's a bit concerning, isn't it? It's a bit sort of, like I purposefully didn't create a character at a high level in the command structure because I didn't want to be dealing with all of this grief.
But you know what they say, Steve? The people who least want power thrust upon them are often the best to handle it when the time comes.
Well, we'll see about that with my roles, but yeah, glad I didn't blow the submarine up, or the inverse of.
I love how well it could have been one of those situations that Sam was talking about, where the game suddenly ends very quickly.
So it's one of the dangers of a GM. Like if you ask for a role, it's bad things can happen.
We also have this message from Don't Kick Food. Just needs a manual reset. That's easy, like Jurassic Park. Yeah, that ended up fine.
Yeah,
I am intrigued actually as to like whether you can, once the control rods have slammed into a nuclear reactor, can you just restart it? I don't know. This is a. Sam's done a whole lot of research, so
depends how much nuclear engineering skill you've got.
Oh, mine is fairly. I mean, I can't, rebuild it from scratch, but
with enough nuclear engineering skill, surely you can do anything in a Call of Cthulhu game, at least.
Just take your time. Yeah. I did learn that having read a very small amount of Wikipedia just before the show, that of course, like in a sub, a reactor, you can't rely on gravity to. If you're dropping, you can't just drop the control rods in because the sub might be at a funny angle. So, other methods are required.
That's interesting.
That is interesting and worrying.
Mm.
Because I'm assuming the systems in place aren't electrical in nature, right? You'd hope.
You'd hope. I don't know.
Any nuclear engineers in the chat?
Yeah, please drop us a comment. Yeah, I mean there'll be some sort of degree of like capacitive emergency power, like a UPS style last few seconds, cut everything dead, last gasp thing. I'm sure, but yeah.
Sure.
Sam, I'm sure can tell us when he returns.
I really love that Sam has meticulously researched this, but not enough to know his difference between port and starboard.
There's always you start.
That's so Sam. That's such a brilliant he knows every aspect of the ship. But
it's the way when you're GMing stuff, you research all of the interesting, weird Baroque stuff, and then like the really obvious stuff that it just slips your mind.
Yeah, it's like you remember the intricate political dealings of all the major players, and then someone goes, "What's this guy's name?" And you go, Beramo?
Nice cross.
As has happened.
Nice.
Right, we have our captain has returned to the deck, metaphorically and outside of gamingly speak. I'm going to stop talking.
The first thing I looked up was port starboard. But guess what? That was like weeks and weeks ago. So I forgot it, didn't I? I forgot it. I was like, I've got this down. And then it's gone. It's gone. We can chat about this in private chat as well, but we might not have a second break because I've got a lot to do and I need to finish sharp at 8. But we can see. Have a conversation. If people need to have a break, we can have a break. Anyway, where were we? We were 2 people in the stern with some stuff down below maybe going on, and you were trying to get the engine going without much luck, and 2 people in the command center trying to figure out what's going on, having just done an emergency blowout to return everyone to the surface. I'd like to go to the command center first. So I think feeling this lurch and lift going on. First of all, I actually would like, because you might probably think about this as well a bit, I would like Reggie to make me a spot hidden. And also, as this is going on, the pilot, Lieutenant Commander Dell, she comes in the doorway, having climbed up the ladder and found her way here herself.
Wow.
Basically mutters to folks that she's like, she doesn't care what condition she's in, she wants to be useful. She wants
That's
to
fair
help.
enough. I'm in no mood to disagree, given that we need literally everyone. That's why I left her half conscious, so that she can make half conscious decisions. I rolled a 5, so critical on the spot hidden.
Very nice.
And
You're glancing around trying to figure out what's going on with the crew in here and everything like that as well. And you see a little way down kind of one of the aisleways where the computer racks and other bits of like equipment sit, and towards navigation you see what you believe is the Captain Phillips, and you immediately recognize that he is alive but unconscious.
Cool. Then I will drop what I'm doing and go and check on that.
Cool. Yeah, you roll him over. He's also had a head injury. It's difficult to assess exactly what, head injuries, but you flip him very carefully over, kind of get him into recovery position, and then try and assess things as best you can.
Cool.
And yeah, he seems alive, but he doesn't wake when you try and wake him immediately.
Should I try? Well, do you need to roll some kind of first aid or medicine roll to try?
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Yeah. First aid again. There could be medicine, but it's a different thing to this.
I succeeded. I rolled 20 out of 75.
Cool. You cannot wake him with this, but he is stable and not in any immediate danger. You hope he wakes of his own accord. There isn't really anything you can do in these circumstances, as you know. It's like...
Yeah, I think that. I look at the adrenaline I've got in my pack. I look back at him and I go, there's nothing I can do, nothing I should do yet.
That would definitely potentially kill him, but you could wake him up with that.
Nothing I can do, nothing I will do right now.
Cool. Is there anything else in Command Center that you folks want to immediately do? Or are you just kind of keeping an eye on things, trying to track? You can't do communications at this depth. Trying to figure out what's around you with sonar.
I think trying to pull as many systems back on board, which maybe with now the help of Commander D, we might be in a bit better position to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. So let me have a look. So you've got the ballast tanks functioning. You assess along with Commander D, who you're basically just pointing at what's on the screen as she asks for readouts. She's clearly still struggling and slow, but she's trying her hardest. It's quite impressive because she must be in unbelievable amount of pain. And you figure out that the hydroplanes seem to be working, which means your directional controls are functional, and your rudder. You figure out that we've already talked about the reactor. That needs a closer look, but it's safe for the moment. I'll tell you what, you managed to get the water systems back online.
Is that the drinking water or the water pumping?
That is the water distiller and the condenser, and that allows cooling for the reactor.
Right, that sounds good.
Basically, it's not currently functioning, but once the power is switched back on, it will immediately start.
I'll relay that information. I'll try and call the engine room, and if I can get through, I'll relay that information.
Yeah, well, there might be a bit busy there, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's switch back to the rear section in the stern. Reactions to what you just saw. First of all, we need to have sanity rolls there. Well, not for Cadet Jenkins, because Cadet Jenkins didn't see anything weird at all. Sorry. Sanity roll for Midshipman Fox.
On mute. Sanity is currently 39, because it went up again from earlier. Oh, I rolled a 27.
You pass. You are all fine. All fine. Whatever that was, it was not human, but you saw a face looking at you. A watery, creepy, unnatural face. And you saw, limbs, not fish-like limbs. There was something very wrong there.
And did it then move out of the way, or is it still there?
It sunk back below the water, and it's dark down there, so you can't really see. There's only a little bit of water down there, but enough for it to hide in, apparently.
I would...
Sir, there's someone in the water.
Yes. Did you get a close look?
No, sir. They appear to be struggling. I'm probably literally starting to climb over the guardrails.
I will
What did
probably
you say?
I'll grab hold of Jenkins, and I'm not sure you can help them.
I mean, you
Yes,
saw them
sir.
moving around. You can't see them moving around now. It would be weird for someone to drown that fast, but maybe Fox knows better. It's up to you to judge.
Look, we can maybe head down to get a closer look, but be careful. We don't know what's gone on here.
I'm going to follow orders and climb back over the guardrail.
Listen, we've got a job to do. We have to get things back online. Otherwise, we're screwed. So, yes, what, Sam?
I think you're going to have to retry these engines.
Right.
And there's going to be something not advantageous for having taken a second try, but go for it.
Is this the equivalent to a push, or is this something else?
Yeah, I think it probably would be, because you know your priority is getting these engines back online. So effectively, there's no other choice. So you have to try again.
Righto. I shall make the roll then. Mechanical repair.
Yep.
My target is 60. I rolled a 45.
Sorry. So, yeah, you managed to get the engines back online. You were worried because you felt like if you couldn't have restarted them now, that would have been it. There would have been something jammed or that, but it worked. And with that, as I said, the power is not online now, but they clink and they engage, and they effectively, once the power is on, the engines are in full control of the command center. So now you need to go a level down and investigate the power.
Okay. And do we get what timing is the call from? Because O'Kane was going to make a call on comms. So does that appear?
It doesn't need to be a long call.
Let's have it now. You're right.
Yeah. It just would be an appraisal of the situation, which is,
Yeah. You get
commanders on deck, but not well, and we've restarted the water system, so cooling should be available.
I don't know if Commander unconscious on deck counts as on deck, does it?
No, not the captain, but Commander D.
Oh, I see. Got it.
But yeah, and the captain is alive, but not conscious.
Thank God. Well, hope you can get him back on his feet soon. What have we just restarted, Sam? Sorry.
The engine. It's the first thing that you could engage when you came through. The engine is fully functional, but it's not running because you haven't restored.
Because we haven't. Okay.
You need to go to the power conduits and set that up. Once that's up and running, you can re-engage the reactor, and then everything is effectively fully functional. But you need to get power first. You need cooling before you can start it.
So yeah,
the engine can start. The engine can start on the backup battery, so everything could be running. The reactor is a final sort of make safe and long-term power step.
Yeah, well, we've restarted the engine. That's ready to go. We're going to descend further and deal with the rest. Yeah, I'll be in touch.
Well, you know where I am. Over and out.
Cool. So both at the back descend to the power distributor control. You can think it's going to be. Let's roll. It is fully functional. It's just turned off in safety mode. You literally just need to switch it on, and that is all.
Nice bit of luck.
Cadet Jenkins, you hear a splashing sound and someone calling you from below. Fox does not.
I'm going to look around.
I mean, you know exactly who you think it is. Someone still needs your help below.
Can I spot them?
Yeah, I think you could look over the edge again. I don't think you need to make a spot hidden roll. I think you see exactly what, Fox is perhaps distracted for a moment switching this on, and you see a creature down below. It's looking right at you, and it says to you, "Come and join me. Come and be safe." I want you to make a sanity roll.
I fail that sanity roll.
1d3, please.
1. That's lucky.
That's fine, but momentarily you are like, I think the effect of the panic and stress of this moment is you're almost convinced by it. And then seeing it hasn't persuaded you, it disappears into the darkness again because it's dark enough down there. It can slip away without being seen.
Sir?
Yes, Jenkins?
Never mind. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right. This one's pretty simple, happily.
A voice sticks in your head, the voice like it's still talking to you, Cadet Jenkins. Come and be safe. Come and join your family. And some small part of you, for some reason, makes you reach up to feel your neck. And it doesn't feel quite right. It feels oddly cold and slimy.
I pull my shirt collar up slightly higher and try and stand to attention and block out. Just be a good cadet, be a good
training.
soldier.
It must be sweat. It's nothing to do with anything else. Speaking of cold, everyone has noticed it's got very cold in here. Now, the life support being off would probably account for that, although you wouldn't imagine the water temperature was really that cold outside for it to have dropped this much. It's like, 8 degrees in here now from what it would usually be 20 plus in a submarine because it gets quite hot. The reactor should still be outputting heat as well, so maybe Midshipman Fox is a little perplexed by this. Anyway, you have been told that everything back here seems to be functional and the power is back on. I think there's nothing else you need to worry about in the rear section. You can go back to the front and check out the reactor / try and drive this submarine now. Back in the command center, you hear the engine turn on, basically. And what's her name? Lieutenant Commander D immediately recognizes that the engine is on and takes a hold. She kind of flails for a bit in front of her and then gets the control stick effectively, and then tries to figure out where she is, orientating herself and controlling things, and then looks around to see if there's anyone around to help her.
Yeah, I'll notice this and give her a description of what's in front of her and around her.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So the submarine is pointed slightly upwards still because of the flooding at the rear, and she just starts it. She puts up the throttle effectively, and you start moving forwards. With the emergency blowout, you look towards the depth gauge, which was pointed out to you earlier, and you note you are now very slowly going upwards. As the throttle goes up, you move faster and faster towards the surface.
What is our depth?
Your depth is now 940.
Cool.
Because the blowout started you rising.
I might just take this moment to get on the tannoy.
Yeah.
And just say, any crew who have not yet reported to the command, please do so.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's out there, please. This is, and maybe give a brief description of saying, this is what's happened. If you're trapped, remain calm. We will, people we'll come to you when we are able to. That kind of thing.
Cool, gotcha. And And the announcement that you're returning to the surface, I would like everyone else to regain 1 sanity. Okay.
Do I give you game 1 sanity?
Yeah, everyone. Sorry, I said everyone else. Everyone does for that. Yeah, sorry. Otherwise, it would have been you twice that didn't get it, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm assuming everyone kind of gathers at the command center again, given that's where things are going on. You kind of perhaps share a moment of just like, maybe this is all going to be okay, you know? Cadet Jenkins, Midshipman Fox, do you mention anything about what you saw, or you're both staying completely silent, not discussing it between each other, anything like that?
It depends what Jenkins looks like on the way back to the command center, I think.
A bit fishy, perhaps.
Well, I was going to say, a bit nervous and unsettled, but yeah, if any fishy elements would definitely be disconcerting.
Jenkins looks surprisingly rattled to say that we're slowly ascending and making our way out of disaster. But he
to be fair,
not saying anything in front of his superior officers.
Right. To be fair, I would have, like, before leaving the rear section, because there is like a divide, you said, a partition between.
Yeah.
I would have looked over the rails. Hang on, this is being drained, isn't it?
Yes. There's still a small amount of water in the bottom. Effectively, the pumps can clear it, but like a meter or so at the bottom, which is not affected.
Okay. Yeah, I would have, before leaving the rear section, definitely like peered over the railings again at the surface of the water, just for a moment or two, just to see whether I can see anything.
Yeah.
But then if there's nothing, I don't,
there's
I
nothing
carry
to
on.
see.
Make sure the airlock is sealed, and look at it sort of pensively before we head back up.
Yeah, you can see. I mean, you can't see through it. There's no window in it or anything, but it looks as it should in every way you can perceive from here now.
Oh, I'm concerned because anyway. Okay, no, that is a thought that I'll ruminate on as we return to the command center, and I'll probably like stare at Jenkins for a while. And it's you've done well. You've done well. Yeah, we'll get out of this. We'll be fine.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Earl, I would like you to make me a spot hidden roll in the command center.
Okay, I have 50 in spot hidden, and I've rolled 37.
You notice, of the many forms of communication in this ship, there is a radio Morse code communicator. It is pipping near you. Like there's a little, very quiet pipping sound. Just like everyone else in the submarine knows, no radio communication could penetrate below 100 or 200 meters, which you are not.
So
Maybe
in my
it's
head,
malfunctioning.
I was going to say in my head, does that mean it's malfunctioning, or alternatively, there is a vessel within 200 meters of us that we're not aware of?
Part of the reason it can't,
is that the other
is the
option?
depth. The water is denser at depth as well, so it's even harder. So it
Okay.
has to be very close, and there's probably not many people using radio transceivers at depth. You would assume it's malfunctioning.
It's O'Kane's nearest to me, I think. I think the Morse code seems to be malfunctioning.
I think it's safe to say O'Kane is fluent in Morse code. Do you think Elle would be?
Probably not. I think probably it, like, with a bit of thought.
Yeah.
I'd be able to use it to do an SOS or a few like specific things, but I think probably not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It'd be more effort.
I would say probably regular. The specifics, you can't translate easily then, but maybe O'Kane, you note the words. What were the words again? Sorry.
Cthulhu for target?
You get the words "no, go down."
I'm sure I'm misunderstanding this.
That is all it does, and it repeats that signal over and over. No, go down. No, go down. It seems very odd for random. It's forming letters and words.
No god own.
I think I would like you to make a sanity roll.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I rolled so many bad rolls. I got a 94. Again, that's my third time I've got a 94 this session for something.
1 sanity for that. That is not something going to happen randomly, and it's very specific.
It's just busted, isn't it? Okay.
Okay, looks rattled.
I think
It shows
O'Kane
on your
is-
face.
O'Kane, luckily, is not competent at comms technology or anything, because I think he'd be more rattled if he was. But just as a medic, I kind of look at Commander D, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to bother D with this. Yeah, it must be broken.
I'm assuming everyone is in the command center monitoring things. If there's nothing else anyone specifically wants to do, I'm going to gloss over ascent for a while. It's smooth. You're just going in a straight line, piloting upwards. Who do you think is most likely to be assisting D, or is that kind of a job that's switching? With
We might be switching a bit, because I think I might also go back and check occasionally on the mess, like once
Yeah,
every
that makes sense.
little bit of time.
Sense. For what it's worth, no one has woken up.
Good.
I'll random between the 3 military folks then. Okay, it is Midshipman Fox. You're assisting D. Just she kind of knows what she's doing now, so just keep an eye, making sure she keeps on controls and everything. And you hear her muttering something, and you kind of lean in just out of curiosity, trying to hear what she's saying. And she's just kind of muttering to herself, "We shouldn't be. This is wrong. We should go down. We shouldn't go up. We should go down. Not up, not up, not up." Over and over, repeating little things to herself. I think I wouldn't make you roll sanity for that, because she's had a trauma and you can probably justify it, but it's certainly unsettling.
I would take an appropriate moment to mention this to O'Kane, and are you sure she's okay? Because she's
From
saying some
the
weird stuff.
back of if we leaning against a console towards the back of her, I go, I'm not. She's on a lot of strong drugs and she's in a lot of pain. So no, if she isn't herself, then there is cause to relieve her of her duty. It depends. Right now, I think we need her, but
It's just what she's saying doesn't make sense. She's talking about we should be going down, not up. Which
she's gone through a really traumatic. She's probably not. Just
When
her sight.
when Ian says go down, not up, Reggie, you do pause for a moment. It does. I'm not going to make you roll a sanity, but Fox notices it on your face very clearly, and you freeze before you respond.
My response is,
Yep.
I don't know what it was like to process losing your sight in a traumatic submarine incident, and you might forgive her, but keep an eye on her, because if she doesn't, I'll just shove her full of morphine and we'll roll into a bunk.
Got it. Love it. So, for what it's worth, Midshipman Fox, you saw that, and if anyone else was watching this interaction, they might have seen it as well. I'm happy for others to have seen it.
I mean, we're very obviously conspiring at the back of the bridge. It's.
I think. Oh shit! Would I mention?
I mean, O'Kane has just said that if people start acting weird, he's going to fill them with a morphine and roll them into a bunk. So
I think I won't say anything for now. I'll look around at the dearth of people we have and
Yeah. Decide not to suggest that someone's losing their mind.
Well, more importantly, I was just wondering whether or not to say that I saw a fish person in the
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I
mean,
want some morphine there, Mr. Fox.
That is effectively suggesting someone losing their mind. It's just you in this case instead.
Yeah. I'll keep tabs on it. It's probably just stress.
I love, you know what's perfectly amusing about this as well? Silas hasn't, I mean, he's been in a stressful situation where he's the only person who hasn't seen anything weird, and you have the lowest like sanity threshold too. So it's actually worked out fine for Dr. L's, just kind of like, no, I'm good.
All set to explode in a messy sanity.
It's going to be a really good chapter in his autobiography.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Okay.
While the midshipmen are conferring, could I have a quiet word with Dr. Earl?
Go for it. There's plenty of space for that.
Doctor, this might be a strange question, but I was wondering if you know how whales can sing, and how like parrots and things can mimic human speech. I was wondering if there's anything, under the sea that can do something like that. Talk.
Other than the whale song, you mean?
Well, the whales don't really talk, right? Like, I mean, they do, but it's their own language, right?
You mean like impersonation of human speech?
Yeah.
No, I mean they've evolved differently. The way that the throat muscles and the vocal cords in humans and all land-dwelling creatures have come about to transmit through the air rather than through. No.
But like we did come from the ocean originally, right?
Well, there are numerous trains of thought, but even so, there have been many millennia of evolution that have led to the specific way in which our voices interact with the air. Perhaps this research could wait until after we've reached the surface, Cadet Jenkins?
Yes, Doctor. I just, I thought as there's a break in proceedings, yes.
There are still people requiring medical attention, though.
Yes, I'll go deal with that, sir.
By the way, on that front, it's safe to assume hours have passed and you've attended to all the people that you've found and they're all in a stable condition. You don't have time to do like surgery and things like that. So you've done what you can, basically. You don't need to be immediately attending to all of those people that you know of. I know that's a bit of a hand wave, but it's too complicated otherwise. Sorry.
I'll probably shortly after try and get the attention of O'Kane or Fox, whichever are nearer.
Go for it. You can have a private conversation too, easy enough.
Probably O'Kane actually, because it's vaguely medical, perhaps. Do you think
How are you holding
perhaps
up?
I'm doing surprisingly okay, I think. I'm a little concerned about the cadet.
Yes. Eyes narrow looking at Jenkins.
Just perhaps the stress of the situation has gone to him a little.
Everyone's holding up quite well so far. What made you? What brought about this cause? What was the cause for concern?
Just perhaps his mind not on the task at hand. He was asking me about if any sea creatures could impersonate human speech.
That is odd.
Yes.
I think
maybe worth just having perhaps a check for a concussion or just to make sure.
I'll do something.
I have a great image of Cadet Jenkins having a chat with Dr. L. Dr. L wandering over and having a chat with Midshipman Kane, which Cadet Jenkins can see at a distance, and then Midshipman O'Kane immediately walking over to Cadet Jenkins and going, "Let me just assess your head."
What I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate to Jenkins that it's an important time. There's an important important medicine we need to administer basically everyone here for stress. We need to get emergency hot beverages. It's that time. So do you mind helping me sort that out? And while we're making tea, which is essential at this moment, I'm going to just do a little check on Jenkins. Everything all right? How are you holding up? Pretty stressful situation.
Yeah. Jenkins is... Oh, sorry. If you want to roleplay out, that's fine.
No, I'm interested in what you're about to say.
I was just going to say Jenkins is medically sound as far as you can tell, but very shaken and stressed by the situation. You wouldn't be surprised if something terrible were to happen from now, if Jenkins were to be an unreliable help. Perhaps would be a way to put it.
No, I believe Jenkins will be. I think he'll pull. But I mean, maybe. But I've got like punching Jenkins lightly in the arm. I've got every faith in you, Jenkins. You've done very well today.
Thank you, sir. I just, I wasn't expecting this. No one really expects an emergency of this scale. I think I'm just not very sure what's going on, sir.
Well, emergencies happen, in war or in a military vessel, and there'll be time afterwards for us to process that and to think about what happened, who was there, who we lost, who worked with us, who didn't. But in the moment, the important thing is just that we do our duty.
I realize
and that's why tea,
tea comes up. I realize I've said stuff is okay now. Well, let's say the reactor's been dealt with too. It's not a important plot point in this situation. It was easy enough. Midshipman Fox went down and re-engaged, and there was no damage. Cool. Who has any skill in sonar?
I have 21%.
And I have 20.
Okay, you two. So I'll roll between the two of you. That's fine. So that is going to be Dr. L. You do not need to make a check because this is unbelievably easy. As you ascend, you spend a little bit of time. You're monitoring the sonar station at this point because you want to keep an eye on what's around you while you're moving through the ocean. As you ascend, you think there must be a glitch at first, and then you kind of check and refresh and check again, and you keep seeing exactly the same thing. Sorry, my apologies. And then you don't know whether you should relay it or not, but basically what you've seen, and you're sure this is the case, is something solid above you. First, you think it must be a ship or some object at the surface, but it's vast. It seems like the entire surface of the sea, not just above you. And your mind reels for what the explanations for this could be. It doesn't really make sense. You're wondering if there could be some sort of malfunction in the sonar system, but that doesn't really make sense for leaving some sort of trace like this.
Fox?
Yes. Dr. L?
Any chance we've drifted into a cave? So look, tap on the screen.
You're about 150 meters away from the surface, and just about 150 meters up is a solid surface marked by the sonar. You can see it. It's flat and smooth, bouncing sonar right back. You two can make me an idea roll if you like. Or marine science, if that's better.
Ooh.
Actually, sorry, doesn't matter.
I might spend some luck.
Well, I rolled a 15 under 60.
One of you's good enough. No need to.
Okay.
Well, it depends if, I suppose, Midshipman Fox decides to spread the hypothesis. The only thing you can possibly imagine that would act like that at the surface would be ice.
Well, yeah, I'd certainly sort of... well, yes, where were we supposed to be?
Mid North Atlantic, not below ice, but it's
Okay.
You can't even imagine how in that amount of time you could have drifted that far north, but possible. No, it doesn't seem possible to you actually knowing navigation, but you can't think of a better explanation, short of the sonar malfunctioning in an unbelievably strange way. If you want to make me a navigation to see if you think it's at all possible.
Yeah, I probably sort of blurt out that like the only thing that springs to mind is like an ice sheet, but that doesn't seem possible. And yes, I would try and check. I don't know how subs navigate, because GPS signals aren't going to work underwater.
You can get GPS at the surface. Otherwise, what the submarine does is the computer remembers location based on the previous GPS reading. So so I guess the antenna picks up GPS, remembers movement, so it tracks its own GPS. So it's usually only like a kilometer or so off once it's been on for like a week.
So I'd sort of check the logs in the system, and
they were shut down temporarily, so you can't guarantee it, but it wasn't for very long. It seems like you only lost about 20 minutes. So unless you managed to travel, wait, have you made the navigation roll?
I will make that navigation. Navigation. Okay, I've got 30% in navigate. No, I rolled a 98.
Okay. Oh, okay. You think it's possible you could have just sailed north, actually, then? It's a plausible explanation.
Okay.
You think you probably weren't that far from north anyway,
Yeah, I probably didn't pay much attention to where we're going. It's it's a job, isn't it?
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Go where the sub goes. So I guess then I would be slightly, not exactly frantic. How fast do we elevate? I kind of want to slow the ascent now.
Yeah, sure. So
like
right now,
that there's something on the sonar. We seem to be under.
You were going pretty quick because the emergency situation. So you're going up, like as in the rate of acceleration is about what would it be? It would be about like 5 kilometers an hour. So I'm trying to think of. Oh well, I can't bother to faff that out quite quickly. Maths is difficult at this moment, but yeah, you would hit at a speed.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying.
I don't want to hit anything at a speed. So I'll sort of.
It's 1.38 meters per second.
Yeah, pretty quick.
So you have less than 100 seconds, less than a minute till we hit it.
Yeah, right. Slow rate of descent.
What are you saying? How will you explain this to everyone else who probably wants to get up as quick as possible?
There's something above us. Check the sonar. We need to slow our ascent until we know what it is.
You both, Cadet Jenkins and Midshipman O'Kane, like there shouldn't be something above you. That makes no sense.
Check the sonar.
Yeah,
please.
No, I don't doubt it. I agree. I like Commander D. I suggest that we slow our ascent until we can work out what this object is.
Just because of the concept that's been floated, I would like everyone else to make a navigate roll, because there's no way you're not going to question the ice above you.
That's where you're quite wrong, Sam, because there is no way I will question it. Failing my navigate roll.
I passed the roll, but I will wait to see if I question it.
Well, Cadet Jenkins, you could not, from the trajectory you were traveling, could not have made it that far north. It is impossible. The submarine can't travel that fast. Did Silas pass it? Johnny? Okay. You didn't botch it, so both Dr. Earl and Midshipman O'Kane think it really doesn't make sense, but you don't have confidence in that, right? I'm sorry, Jenkins. That's going to be a sanity roll.
Of course it is.
Making successful checks is helpful.
I pass.
Okay, you're fine.
Can we use our periscopes to check or something like that?
You can underwater, but there's a chance of damaging them. It's like a camera, basically.
I mean, like, so I'm up for that.
Well, there's perhaps other ways. Once we get close enough, we can pop up a because the whole point you can pop up a radio beacon. So that might be one way of doing it. Although I don't, I kind of want to get close enough to be able to.
I'd say in the process of this, you've got close to the surface, you've started to slow down, you're close enough that you could try and get radio communications. Are you going to try that, I'm guessing? Who has communications?
That's a great
I'm a
question.
doctor, not a communications officer.
Oh, God.
Or a
where is
doctor.
Communications.
It's a
I'm
special
not
skill.
submarine ops.
Nope.
I have 20% in communications.
And Silas doesn't have any. Go for it. Make a communications roll. I mean, you could ask what's her name to try it as well.
D.
Yeah, D.
Would I know if she's good at communications? I presume.
You suspect she can.
I will ask her to.
Yeah, she just nods. She doesn't seem to want to talk, whether it's painful or what, you don't know. But she nods and moves over to her right and just reaches for a little panel, opens it, presses a few buttons, and then gestures to you, and a communications line basically opens up. So now you have a radio signal which you can tune to. So you can kind of scroll through very low frequency radio transmissions which go through the first 100 meters or so of the sea. So your standard communication system would be that if there'd been any message sent out to you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I certainly want to check that. Part of it is trying to determine whether there's a clear route to the surface or not as well. So
is someone else going to use the periscope? Did you want to do that? Okay. Sounded like that was your...
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, Midshipman Fox, it's quiet. Usually there's quite a lot of background noise in the radio communication. There is not very much at all. Unsettlingly so. Sanity roll into this, please.
Too quiet.
I would. What you do get is the emergency beacon, which is the HQ has in some way been unable to send communications. These are the nuclear launch codes. Actually, it's going to be 2 sanity rolls separately. I'm sorry, Midshipman Fox. You never thought you would see that message in your lifetime.
Well, first sanity roll is a fail.
Mm-hmm.
55 over 40. And what?
Just make another standard sanity roll. Oh, whether you're changing or not. No, you do it from the same. Do it from where you are.
Okay. Second one was a 92. So
okay,
2 fails.
So that's just 2 points of sanity. How close are you to your thing? I know I've given some pluses as well.
Well, I've been up and down. So currently, I've only got 2 points of sanity damage.
Oh,
so I'm a quarter of. I think my indefinite insanity target is 8.
Oh no, I can do way more.
2 out of 8.
Then that's good. Yeah, that was a shocking realization. Both the silence, which shouldn't really happen on Earth because there's always background radio noise. Whether there's something like a communicator or not, you don't know. But that was strange, given you were getting other signals and getting the nuclear codes to activate the weapons. Obviously, quite stark. That should not normally happen unless nuclear war has happened.
Are you sharing this with us, Steve?
I think there's a pause at the very least while you process this information, and a very shocked Midshipman Fox, which you can all see because everyone's probably gazing at you as you do the communicator. Reggie, were you waiting for the communicator, or you just okay? You did the periscope then. You don't.
I rolled 17.
It's not complicated. You can do it. What was your roll? What were you rolling?
I rolled submarine ops because I assumed that's what it would be.
That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Did you succeed with it?
I succeeded. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you have no problem with it. It's you can see above you exactly as was believed ice, a thick sheet of ice right above
Ice
you.
in the periscope, thick sheet.
Wait, no, I am very sorry. I have to. I knew I'd messed that up. You can see nothing.
I can see nothing.
Absolutely
nothing in the
black.
periscope.
Sorry about that. It is completely black out there. The camera seems to be functioning, but there is nothing to see, as if it was utter darkness.
Might I deduce that if there was ice up there, it would like filter out the light or block the light such that we couldn't
At this
see
depth,
anything?
you would expect to see through it unless it was unbelievably deep ice.
Hmm.
And you're close enough to the surface, you wouldn't think it was unbelievably
Wait,
deep ice,
no,
but
not ice.
you can't see a
Nothing.
thing.
It's a screensaver.
It's not. I would say it's not a sanity roll, just because looking through a camera, you probably
and-
think there's something in the way, or
And also, O'Kane assumes that he can't do any of this stuff anyway because he never has to do this stuff normally, and
Yeah,
he's assuming he'll
makes
probably
sense.
assume he's doing it wrong.
Mhm.
Sorry, can't see anything out there.
Cool.
Can
Sorry,
I
the wreck on there.
have a look? I assume we have a GPS to show where we actually are now that we're closer to the surface.
Yes, go on then. Go on then.
Okay.
Yes, the GPS is fully functional, and you can do that. And the GPS is easy enough to work. Once you've got it running, you can see you are a little on the kind of parallel, a little south of Ireland.
So we shouldn't have found an ice sheet this far south. Look,
Jenkins is absolutely right. Everyone who looks at GPS, give me a sanity check.
does that include me as well?
You've already made it because you already have the navigation realization, remember?
Oh yeah.
I feel like
As well?
Dr. L might do it too at this point. It's up to you though, Johnny, if you don't want to.
I pass.
I fail.
I rolled
1 point.
29 out of 35.
Nice. 1 point of sanity for Midshipman Fox. As you're having this conversation, the submarine lurches forward again. You look around and see that the pilot, Lieutenant Dell, she has started pushing the submarine forward and lowering the rudder and emptying the ballast tanks to cause the submarine to dive while you were having this little conversation about location. Justin, you're muted.
She probably has a good reason. So,
I love it.
Commander D, is there an update on what course of action should we take?
She turns around and she's a little frantic. I mean, it's not too surprising given her circumstances and everything. And she kind of grips out and doesn't get you because you're not close enough. And she kind of just goes back to the control panel, but says, "We have to go down. There's nothing for us up here."
Sir?
I think like it's time for Mr. Morphine to be introduced to Commander D.
Oh God.
I think like the sensible thing to do is sit down. I mean, like in my mind, I'm like I'm gonna get the nod from Fox. I'll look at Fox and be like,
Well, I'm going to be a bit distracted because
Mhm.
I've been scribbling down.
well, then in that case, I definitely would go to you first. But I think like my suggestion is I'm gonna go to you and say, surely the sensible thing to do is to become stationary, tend to the wounded, work out where we are, and work out what happens next. See if we can, surely we should be diving.
Everyone here hears Reggie say that, but knows. They just saw the GPS, and GPS is like that don't malfunction. You know where you are.
Sure, but we don't need to dive. We can just.
The words you're saying, I know you made your sanity roll, but I'm just enhancing the situation. The words you're saying fall a little hollow as you all kind of think none of this is adding up. The fact that there's ice above you where you are, apparently ice, whatever the hell it is, doesn't
Well-
make sense. And you can't even see it. You don't know what's going on with that camera. Where are you going to go? Going south, you have no idea if it'll make a difference because you're nowhere near where it should be frozen anyway. What do you do? O'Kane's logic almost doesn't override the logic of going down to you. That's up to you. I mean, personally, given your circumstances, perhaps you agree completely, but this has all been a very insane set of situations.
I mean, when O'Kane comes over, I'll be sort of I'll just hold up a bit of paper with the launch codes written on it. This has to be a joke.
Well, could we even launch them if we? I thought we weren't functional.
Well, no.
If you want to answer that question seriously, the nukes have been deactivated. It means no, you shouldn't be able to launch them, but you think you might know a way to launch them if you really wanted to.
It's always a backdoor.
The codes are the prints. The codes are the things that really stop you, right? They're deactivated, but you could probably activate them with some time. Without the codes, nothing.
O'Kane is happily, naively of the opinion that we can't activate them, and is happy to stay. There's no need for O'Kane to have that knowledge about.
My point is they wouldn't send these unless something bad has happened. I mean, we don't have a target. We've no instructions, have we? Or do we? Do we have?
What you've got is a list of potential likely targets. This was the absolute last ditch scenario. So you haven't been given orders. You haven't been given instructions. This was just a command has been eliminated. This is likely strike back targets for the perpetrators. That's all you've got. Right. It gives you nothing. This, honestly, the fact this shouldn't really be sent. Like, this is like a really things are that bad? Wow. Okay. Sort of message, you know.
Okay, it'll probably be like, Cuban Missile Crisis, mistakes happen. I mean, like, even saying that, okay, is aware that is like a kind of mutinous, like treasonous thing to say, but it's just between midshipmen.
It's literally your job on the nuclear submarine, and
my job on a nuclear submarine is to keep people alive, and that's my job. It's Mr. Fox's job now to do all the rest of it, but yeah.
I mean, I think I would probably. Okay, like, is there any that all of this stuff is? I've seen some weird things today. Is there any chance that this is? Have we been poisoned? Is this a hallucination?
At this stage, I'm not ruling anything out.
No one has stopped the pilot here, right? You're still going down. Okay, cool. Just checking.
But if they've given us the launch codes, who are they expecting us to fire at?
All the usual sorts.
If you not butting in, this is none of my business, but if you fire, is it going to go straight up and hit that ice sheet?
Well,
it would certainly blow a hole in the ice sheet.
But we would need to be a decent distance away.
Oh, you would. Well for us, I don't think. Quite a good shield, to be fair. You wouldn't need to be all that deep. Don't get me wrong, it's a very bad idea. It would very likely kill you, but
I just think that we should not be going deeper or up, but instead try to stabilize the situation and take stock.
I agree. Perhaps we should. Yes, let's get stable, and then at least we can, I don't know, head out in a different direction and see whether the ice continues.
Who is stopping D?
Oh God!
No.
I'm going to start off by like asking D trying to I'm not like trying to approach D and encourage her to we don't want to go deeper. We've received other orders. This is blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And then relieve. Then next step will be I'm relieving you of your duty because you're not fit to command.
She does not budge an inch as you say that part.
Then I'll say I'm going to have to relieve you of your duty because you're not fit to command.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she doesn't move until you touch her, and then she tries to shrug you off.
Then I think that's. I'm just trying to work out what the better thing to do is to go straight for the morphine. or to try and like physically arrest her for. I think as a doctor, it'd be like you know, I think I would like try. I'm gonna give her a sedative. Like,
Okay,
whether she wants or not.
She's kind of like turned around to try and like grab you. I think you're close enough. She kind of does actually succeed. She kind of grabs you in a manic grip and just sputters in your face like, "We need to go down. There's nothing left up here."
Yeah. Surprisingly, that isn't very convincing to me. And I will I think if people can see that we're struggling, then you know.
Yeah. Other people might have, you know.
I would
I
ask for like
yeah.
some restrain her, you know, like.
yeah.
And I'm going to give her a sedative and like a powerful one, and like we'll put her to bed.
Yeah.
And stabilize the ship's depth.
I'll
Someone
come back
take
to that
control?
because
Yeah.
that will need a pilot roll. You just knocked out your pilot after all. She, as she's kind of laying her on the floor, as she's quite quickly losing consciousness, she does just say to you, "Nothing here, nothing here. There's safety down there," as she whispers, and then goes unconscious.
I'm not convinced by the ravings of a like sedated, traumatized person.
It's quiet enough in here now that everyone does hear this, but I absolutely agree that it's not very convincing. Who's going to try and pilot the submarine up? It's an easy roll. I'll give you a positive dice on your very low chance.
Does anybody actually have any? So it's just 1% then, I think.
Cool.
I'll say this for you. It's not going to be a fail. Will not mean nothing happens. You might be able to do something. It might just be difficult to control what happens.
We've seen her doing it as well. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like-
Are there any manuals around? Can we?
You've
Just
got
gotta get
the
submarine
same.
manual.
You got the same percentage chance to fumble than an expert. So you know, fine.
There'll be a YouTube video, right?
Yeah, it's the ship Wi-Fi working.
I am going to say that there's not really much point gain of advantage because it's such a little chance anyway. I'm trying to think of something I can do.
I think let's make the roll and see what happens. We might roll.
Yeah,
one.
let's just make the roll and see what happens. I've got a few ideas of how to interpret the roll. I'm going to go a bit percentage based. So,
So who's making
everyone
it?
is at 1%, correct?
I mean, the honor of
Yeah.
the honor surely lies with the first in command.
But who is? We're equal rank. Hang on. How's the captain doing?
She's
the captain.
completely unconscious. If you actually go over and shake the captain, I'm half tempted to make a sanity roll. No, that's
Oh,
fine. You can
dear.
shake
For
the-
him or for the captain?
Oh, yeah, no.
Fox does have seniority over O'Kane and out there. You
Oh, I thought-
you have more years of service. I think that's what we established in our role.
Oh,
earlier.
okay. Oh well. Okay. Well, I'll tentatively give it a go then. And yes, I rolled a 47, which is not a 1.
Okay.
Strangely.
Not bad.
Out of 47, you manage to basically fiddle with the controls enough to change the ballast to neutral because that's something you're familiar with and
Okay,
know
yeah.
what to do. So the ballast is now kind of pulling the submarine up, but the engine is still driving down. So you're kind of still going down, but you're not exactly sure how that might interact. There might be a maximum depth you could reach. That's all you manage. You can try again. I'm just going to kind of judge this as to how far you've gone this time.
Sure.
And other conversations can continue while Mitchum and Fox is desperately trying to do something.
What if we cut the engines manually and then it won't be descending?
Yeah,
That
work.
could work. Shall I give it a try, Mr. Fox?
you'd have to go back to cut them manually because all the controls here are set and you're not quite sure what you're doing with them.
And cutting the engines manually, does that... Oh, hang on. Does that lose us any other systems, or is it
No.
just...
You could just turn them back on as well. It's just an electric engine.
Yeah, I guess that's...
Is it something that's easy to do, or will it require a mechanical engineering role?
No, I don't think you require a roll to do that.
O'Kane's happy to go and do that. He can go and check on people on the way back.
Okay, I guess I'll stay at the controls and continue monitoring stuff.
The life support system has been running for a while. Could you manage to get that up and running again? No problem. It's still quite cold in here, though. Actually, now it's a stressful situation, so you've all been quite warm and all that sort of thing. But now you think about it, it's actually dropped even colder than it was. Maybe it's just your imagination. It's got colder at the surface. You don't know, but it feels very cold here. Like the surfaces of the submarine feel ice cold to the touch. Every time I do this, I'm like, is this a sanity or not? No, I think you're all busy. I'm not going to make you roll sanity for that. Just to dwell on.
It's like freezing a frog, isn't it? You know, if you freeze a frog gradually, they don't lose any sanity points.
Shall I support Midshipman O'Kane?
I don't know what you experienced, so I wouldn't think to hold you back. So, sure, that yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I'm very curious why Jenkins is going back now. Go ahead and follow. You make it to the back section, no problems. It's as you left it back there, as far as you can tell. The engine is running. Is that your first priority, shutting that off, presumably?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd shut it off, and then I would call up the.
Yeah. Everyone can detect it's shut off immediately anyway.
Yeah.
The engine's quite loud across the whole submarine, so you know it's off.
I still do it because it's going to take me 2 minutes to get back to the thing. If I needed something, if they need me down here for something else, then I would do it. So I call up command center and just say, "Engine's been shut off. Anything else you need, etc."
Jenkins, you're in there, and you hear that voice again. Down here, child. Come down here. Reggie doesn't hear anything.
Thank God.
Okay, and you have shut it off. You've sent your message, and as far as you're aware, you're ready to turn it back. You turn around and see Jenkins was there to assist and monitor, and Jenkins seems to be looking into the distance.
Now, Jenkins, I can't have you, but you can't fool me. I know that you've come here for a reason.
Yes, sir. I didn't think it was a good idea for anyone to go off on their own.
Down below, child.
I thought there may be some lingering hazards in the area that you would possibly need safeguarding against.
I see. Well, just trying to think about. I think we've shown that there aren't. So either back to command, or is there anywhere else we need to be? Is there anywhere else we need to be?
She was right, you know. There's nothing left for you up there. Come down and join us. Friends are welcome.
I don't know, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to make you make another sanity roll for this in this conversation.
That's understandable.
Mm-hmm. You kind of thought for a moment you were hallucinating it, but it keeps happening.
Would you... Perhaps you just need a bit of time for yourself?
That will be a 1d3.
Ooh. No, sir, please, no.
How many did you get then?
That was a 2.
That was a 2. Okay, this is very noticeable. You either freeze, or you have a little panic, or you act in some way like trying to escape momentarily, or something happens.
I think I just start sort of backing towards the door.
Which door? The one back into the main compartment?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're worried about him. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to... I'm trying to work out... No, I think I was like, would OK be the kind of person who would try and secure a firearm? No, and I'm like, no, probably not. He's not really the kind of person. Like, he's not gonna. He doesn't want to have a firearm.
You also
just in
have
case
no
things go
evidence that
wrong.
there's anyone else but the crew on the ship, so that
I
doesn't
know.
make sense to me.
Well, no, but I'm mostly thinking of like, this
case someone
situation.
In case I go.
But O'Kane is not like that. I just trying to think if O'Kane would, some people are like, okay,
you could be thinking maybe
the
the munitions locker is secure anyway, so they would have to have got access to the munitions locker.
I don't think I would. I'm just trying to think about whether O'Kane would. I mean, and I don't think he would. So yeah.
If
In that case, I'm
O'Kane
happy to
had
go
called
back to
through to comms whilst you were down there, I'd have probably asked the question, like, how are things? How's the water level?
Oh yeah.
Did you see anything in the water?
Oof. Okay.
I'll go have a look at the water level.
Yeah, make me a
personally.
spot hidden, I think. And Jenkins, are you staying? You were backing up towards the door. I mean, presumably maybe this call happened just when you were backing up. So
Luckily, I failed spot hidden.
Are you running or are you watching tentatively as O'Kane looks over the edge?
I'm watching tentatively from the outside.
Okay. And okay, you look at the water. It's about 1 meter deep. It seems to be settled and not in any critical systems.
I'll
There's
go back
nothing
and
that you
relay
can
this
see.
information. Can't see anything.
That's good.
Was there some? Never mind. Less I know, the better.
Back to command, unless you got.
Yeah, we'll be
other
heading
plan?
back now.
Cool. Okay, that sounds good. Back in command. You two have been left there for a while with nothing to do. Are you having a conversation about what to do, or are you just kind of standing there looking at systems and trying to figure out as your pilot lays unconscious now?
That's a great question. I will probably have fallen into a cycle of just checking the systems I know about, probably a little bit too frequently.
Doctor, it occurs to you that everyone else seems to be struggling a bit, and you're starting to feel like you need to make a decision to help people along. Given you have suffered barely any sanity loss, and as far as I'm aware, recovered it in this situation. I wonder if you've almost thought the military personnel tend to be lacking in their action or something.
Yeah, we're just shit.
Mr. Fox.
Yes.
To me, it seems sensible to follow a logical path, train of thought. We have issues, we come up with a solution to those issues. The issue that we found ourselves with is that we have gone to surface quite sensibly and have been unable to. So we have to find a way to surface. Do you have a solution to that problem?
I will give you the ramming into it might be entirely suicidal or might get you to the surface. The only other thing you can think of is the nukes, which is also very potentially suicidal. Or finding a way around this mysterious body of ice that shouldn't be here, which you have no idea where to go or how to get there. And you can't really pilot the submarine.
Which means also that we can't really ram well, I guess.
Yeah, that might be hard too.
Dr. Earl, we have no plans for... I don't know what's going on, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, anything we could do to get through whatever's above us could kill us all. But what's happened here has not been normal. I think we need to understand more about what's gone on before we... I'd love to get through the ice or whatever it is, but we can't just roll the dice on that. I think we need to know more.
Now that you're saying ice, you realize you can see your breath in the submarine. You still haven't felt especially cold because the stress and the anxiety has kept you physically warm, but that realization shocks you. I think at realizing that it's got that cold despite the action of the life support, I would like a sanity roll. And I think I'm going to broadly make that for everyone, because at about this point, you all realize just how cold it is in here.
7 out of 35.
Oh my
I'm
god!
just the most
Who needs-
unbothered by this unbelievable
I rolled
situation.
a 3, even better.
I
Yeah,
rolled an
unbothered.
86. I am bothered.
I can't believe I came into this worried about my sanity, and then just
Everyone else can lose their mind as doctors, and they're like, this makes sense. Did you pass,
So-
John?
I did. I'm cold anyway, so
Yeah,
you
true.
Well,
know.
that's fair.
Yeah, you're always
Cold-blooded.
cold. You've always
So
been cold.
I failed. So nobody else
One
failed.
sanity loss.
I'll be relieving Fox soon of duty.
We're reeling Fox and Jenkins at this rate.
Mr. Morphine coming out again. I'm afraid
So
my actions over the next few days was I step by step removed every member of the crew.
I mean, that is very sort of, you know, fitting in terms of general storylines.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we kind of interrupted. You were discussing solution.
Yeah. Again, you see, now I don't know whether to talk about. Did I ever see the Morse code? I don't think I did. Did I?
I don't think you saw it. I think you were aware that it was happening.
Yeah, I mean,
But basically, I think from your perspective, you might have just thought it was malfunctioning.
I would ask, has anyone actually switched it off? Because it's been going the whole time. So if no one specifically intended to switch it off, it's kind of a retroactive thing.
I wouldn't have switched it off, because I would think as we neared the surface, we might want to use it, or
Yeah,
you know,
do you think-
something may come in. So I don't think I would have.
Okay, in that case, I think everyone by now has seen it. I'm not going to retroactively do sanity for all that.
So I'll have been thinking about the Morse code message and the fact that D had been saying those things. And so we've gone up like hundreds of meters,
You're at like 200 meters depth.
and the
now,
Morse
400
code is still
meters
coming
essentially.
through.
It makes no sense whatsoever. But many things don't. So to be honest, by this point, you're almost a bit hardened to the no sense non-technical things.
Mm.
The radio transmissions you can't get anymore. It doesn't falter, doesn't change. It just keeps saying go down.
Dr. L, I don't know what you know about the situation. The rear airlock had been ripped off. I think, it sounds stupid. I saw something in the rear compartment.
I'm happy
Airlock-
for others to be arriving in the room by now. So I'm happy for Cadet Jenkins to hear this.
That's awkward.
Something.
Yes. It wasn't. It didn't look human. To rip an airlock off would take incredible force. Is there anything that you know of, any marine creature that could tear through, insert specifics of hull?
If anyone has a cult, they can roll it. If anyone's listening.
Why would we have a
failed.
cult?
Good point. I don't know if anyone does.
Other than the standard 5%, I presume, Sam.
Oh, well, you can roll a 5%, but I'd say just Silas for that. It's really a case of if anyone else has a specific interest. in this.
I have an extra 5 points in a cult. I still fail.
Go on then. That means you have an interest.
Yeah, I fail.
Okay, I'm not surprised. It was a very niche roll. You know nothing about what could rip an airlock off. I mean, no sea creature you think would target a submarine like that. It'd be crazy.
Other than accidentally, you know, a large whale happening the tail to hit at the precise angle, but
Then you look around and see the like hardened steel of the entire submarine and think, no, that's impossible. It
still
would never
no.
do that.
Yeah.
Kraken?
The idea that Harry O'Kane makes a joke of Kraken and then it's kind of a silence, and even you kind of just go,
bit too much, bit far.
Sir? I think it's still in there.
You saw it too.
I think
Yes.
I probably have a moment of realization as to why I've been asked the questions that I was asked by Cadet Jenkins earlier.
yeah, that makes sense. You've connected the dots here.
Jenkins.
Am I missing something here?
There was something in the water in the rear compartment. It didn't look human.
But it could talk. Right, Cadet?
What?
I thought I heard it, but well,
Stressed
when
as a lot
neither
of
of the
things.
midshipmen did exactly. I thought
Could
that
it-
maybe it was just me.
Could everyone roll me a listen, please?
Fail.
Fail.
Oh, I rolled
You-
100.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
33 out of 70.
What do we
So
give
I
you for
passed.
that?
Your ears explode. The pressure.
Yeah, exactly. You're deaf forever for some reason. Yeah. I think the cold has got to you. I'm just going to make it a constitutionally style thing. The cold has really got to you, and you need to find yourself something warm. Otherwise, you're going to be like struggling to function soon. Random side effect. It's worth saying there aren't really warm clothes on a submarine because it's always warm.
Hmm.
So maybe
What could
stripping
possibly
someone's
be
clothes.
making it this cold?
Yeah, that's a really good question, which you haven't talked about at all. Anyway, Silas, you hear a banging on a metal door coming from the direction of the stern.
Do you all hear that?
No.
Oh, just quickly, I presume it sounds like, is it like rhythmic as opposed to like the sort of creaking that you would probably
No,
get
it's like
anyway,
three bangs as if some large hand hitting the metal.
Could be a survivor.
Yes.
It would be an impressive amount of strength to do, but yes.
I mean, I'm happy to go back and check. I can go and check on.
We've got cameras, haven't we? We've got.
Sure.
We do, yeah. I would like Silas to make a sanity check for that, given what we were just talking about too. Cadet Jenkins, what are you going to do about your cold?
If I could be excused, Sarah, I think I need to make a cup of tea. I guess it's very cold, sir. I'm sorry. I need to stand down for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem.
I failed. I got 52 of 35.
Okay, one sanity. It's not direct. You do not get more than that.
Let's plot the cameras.
Sure. Submarine operations, I think, to see if you can get the right camera.
I can't.
I don't mind who wants to do it.
I failed getting the right camera.
Ugh, make me two people checking. Yeah, okay. It takes some time to do it. Then that's fine. If you want to make the roll as well,
Cool.
Steve.
Sure.
I mean,
Steve,
should we
I'm
just
assuming you
say
made a
that
roll
it
as well.
takes time, or
Yeah, this means it takes time, but I mean, if
yeah,
Steve can do it as well,
43.
yeah,
43 over.
you get a view of the rear the door that was presumably the one you've been using to get in and out the top stern kind of airlock door, and there is nothing and no one there, but the floor is like splashed wet, and the door itself is also splashed wet.
I'm
By
happy
now,
to
it's
go
dried
down and check. I'm going to have to go down and check. There's probably a body down there, and you might have looked gruesome if they've fallen, and maybe you mistook that as something. There's no shame in that. I'm happy to go down and check and ascertain whether there's anything left down there.
Well, I'll go with you. I think perhaps Jenkins should remain here.
Certainly.
Let's go on then. Let Ian and Reggie head off to that. Let's stay with Jenkins and Silas for a second, actually, then. So what are you... Jenkins, are you going to go downstairs and make a cup of tea?
I'm going to go downstairs and make a round of tea.
Okay. Silas, are you staying in the control room by yourself, or are you going to follow?
I figure that I should stay on the off chance that the commander, anything goes on.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So you stay in the inside the command center all by yourself. It's a surreal situation for you to be in, really, given all that's been going on here. You're kind of looking over the things and not really sure what you should be doing with all of the equipment. You can hear the Lieutenant Commander D, the pilot. She's muttering. You glance down. She still seems to be unconscious, but she's muttering anyway. She's muttering about going down repeatedly. That's all she's muttering. You can still hear the what's it called? The click of the Morse code going in the background as well. All these things are adding up in your mind. It's very unsettling to be in here, knowing how powerless you are to actually be able to use any of these things as well. Cadet Jenkins, are you going to try and take some clothes from someone? You could go down to your bunk and see if you can find something there.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll go to a nearby berth and steal a few blankets, I think.
Yeah, sure. I think you could do that fine. So you wrap yourself up. You get yourself some clothes. It doesn't really make you feel much warmer, but your shivering does eventually slightly slow down. I think, Jenkins, you really want to get warm. And as long as you stay here, you're just going to keep getting colder.
Do I, by any chance, think that the water might be warmer?
The water up here is colder than the ship. But the
Okay.
water down there, that might be warmer. There's safety down there, after all. And presumably you head back up to the command center. They're blanketed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's cut to Steve and Justin heading to the back section then. So you both go. You just going straight through the back door? What's the plan? Same one you've been
I'm
through.
going to act as confident as I can, and so I will happily lead through the back door as nonchalantly as I can.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Yep. You open the door. The airlock doors up as usual. Go through to the back section. There's nothing conspicuous here. Did you see? I mean, presumably, Midshipman Fox, as you go through the door, you check the back of the door to see if the camera wasn't just lying.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is wet. It's actually, there's water on the handle as well, as if something was trying to use the handle to open the door, something that was very wet.
Right. Well, I will grab a torch and shine it around all of the bits, do as thorough as check as I can for this body, which I assume
Sure.
is down there.
Sounds good. Are you going down to have a look?
If it's a meter of water...
Well, there's multiple levels, so you can descend a few levels before you hit the water itself.
Yeah, I'll go down a bit.
Cool.
I'll probably be keeping in... I'll be talking to Fox as I do. It's a hazardous environment after all. And yeah.
Sure, that sounds good. Okay, so you descend to have a closer look. I'm assuming, Fox, you're following. You're not offering any words of caution or anything else like that.
I'm
I mean,
happy
I'll
for
offer words of
Fox to stay
caution.
up there.
I'll follow.
Sure.
I'll try and sort of provide cover in terms of like getting keeping a decent area in view. Making sure something doesn't sneak up behind us. Say that sort of thing.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. So you both kind of proceed You both proceed away as easy as you can. Nothing, no sounds, no obvious things going on around you. You have a look around, you shine your torch in the water, you can't see anything in the water anywhere around. I think maybe you missed it. There was nothing here.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Anything could happen. It could have sunk. Anything could happen. So I kind of mention all these things to Fox and just say, I'm sure it's down here somewhere, but there's nothing here right now. Maybe we should head south. Maybe if we get to some warmer waters, we can surface around there. I kind of say, kind of like going back up the ladder a bit.
As you say that, it does occur to you. You kind of glance down the water where you're heading back up, and you just spot the edges of the water along the ship side are starting to freeze.
That seems odd.
Yeah, it does.
Especially at this depth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You both give me a listen roll, please.
I passed 29 out of 65.
I fail 44 over 40.
Okay, you hear a movement behind you. Kind of just after you've gone up the ladder to the middle section, back from the bottom section towards where the water processing stuff is. And you turn around and you see a creature, is the only way to describe it.
Jesus!
It looks like a fish on legs with large humanoid eyes staring at you. And the second you see it, it turns and sprints behind the distillation facility, effectively. Very fast.
Mr. Fox, I don't know what the fuck that was, but that... Jesus, there's a...
Fox, you were still on the ladder. You didn't see it. And you're going to have to roll me a sanity there, Justin.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you. I pass.
In that case, that's only one sanity loss.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Keep track of your fifths, folks. Are you chasing? Are you running? What are you doing?
I'm running.
Yeah, cool.
Are you running
Back up
away
the ladder
from
and
it or towards it?
Away from it.
Away from it, okay.
Okay, just goes Jesus and goes straight up the next ladder to the top.
I'm just
Which is your way out.
shouting. Fox, there's something down there. Get the fuck out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I will hurry up the ladder and try and...
Fox, are
Get
you
back to the-
looking at all, or are you not even trying? You're just getting out of there.
I mean, I'm on a ladder, aren't I? So I won't look until I'm sort of by the door.
Okay, so you're going to get right out to the exit.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. Okay. Yeah, you both, nothing seems to chase you. You both get to the entrance. There's nothing there. Just as before you open that door, you both hear a unnatural... It's almost like a snake hissing from down below where you were. And then you go back into the front section, sealing the airlock behind you.
Can we seal this thing permanently? Like, what can we do to keep this thing? Can we lock it? From
There's no
this
locking
side?
internally outside of the doors. No, there's no need to lock the submarine internally.
Okay. I don't know what that was, but there was something there. It was... I could have described the creature. I don't understand what that was. Was that what you saw?
I mean, the thing I saw, I didn't see clearly, but it didn't look human. Fuck.
Back in the control room. Cadet Jenkins and Dr. L. Cadet Jenkins, presumably you come back up to the control room. Are you just both waiting for the return of the others? You're still shivering, Jenkins, by the way, and Earl, you're not warm.
I can't do anything.
I mean, talking. If there's any communication going on as well, but sitting in silence and panic is perfectly fair.
I mean, would anyone be looking at the video screen displaying us?
That's true. I mean, Jenkins went down. I'm not sure Earl knows how to run the video screen. You could do if you wanted to. Have a go at submarine operations.
Jenkins, what exactly did this thing look like that you saw?
Well, I suppose sort of fish-like, but with limbs.
I mean, aside from the obvious, it's quite fascinating. Could be a new species.
But how did it? I mean, I can guess how it got on the ship, but what is it doing here? You don't think it's a mutant, do you? Like a nuclear mutant?
Mm. I've never seen anything specifically like this, but there are certainly mutations that can occur in aquatic life due to nuclear runoff and such, so I don't think so.
Fox, O'Kane, are you both more or less at the command center at this point, I think? Do you share anything of what happened? They both look very pale, particularly O'Kane.
I think there's no point keeping stuff back now, is there? O'Kane saw it. There's still something there.
Yeah,
It didn't talk to us, though.
O'Kane is not holding back at all. He's like swearing. He's like there's some kind of fishy creature on board. Like O'Kane is composed in a medical situation, but this is not a medical situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've not been trained for fish.
Not been trained for fish, and I'm like I think it looked big, it looked scary, and we should I think we should blow the crap out of it. I think one of you should go down there with a gun and blow the crap out of that thing.
Jenkins, that's a really bad idea.
Just to check, do I think it's a bad idea because firing munitions on a pressured surface is a bad idea?
You don't
Do I think it's a bad idea because we shouldn't be shooting this thing?
Something tells you that's a bad idea. Something tells you it's a mistake.
But
it's trying to help you.
It's intelligent, isn't it?
Or we
like
should
it's
flush
trying
it
to
out.
communicate.
What? It's not
maybe
talked to us. What's it said to you?
Come down where it's safe.
Don't say this to me, Jenkins.
I'm sorry, sir. You asked a question. It's the only alive, conscious thing that we've had any contact with. Maybe it knows what's going on.
Jenkins does make a point. You've been to the surface, you've received radio signals. There was nothing coming to you from there, nothing to help you. It's hard to believe everything's gone, but the evidence for communication tells you this is the only actual thing that's communicated with you, as mad as it is.
Here's a question. Can we transmit Morse code?
If you got back to the surface, yes.
So we're receiving Morse code. So that
Yes.
signal still coming through?
You have no idea how that's happening, but yes.
Right. So it's
'Cause
not
it should
like,
be radio.
Okay.
But if we can receive, then presumably we
You
could
can transmit and hope that
Can we
wherever the Morse code is going, it's working.
Can we transmit? Because here's an idea. Because is there such a thing as like ship-to-ship communication if you're within close range, like Hydra phones and things?
I'm going to break this conversation that's been going on with the internal communication system clicks on. And there is a screeching, rasping, unnatural alien voice that comes across it. In a weird, horrific mimicry of human speech, you hear it say, "Go down." Jenkins, you don't hear that. You hear it say, "Please go down. I'm trying to help you. You have to do it now."
see it can talk.
Looking at Dr.
It may
Earl.
be able to talk.
Sorry, folks, one sec.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Is this definitely not just another member of the crew who has
No,
some group delusion, perhaps?
I hope.
I mean, obviously, I did hear it, but my my disbelief is about the source being a humanoid sea creature that has broken its way into the submarine, as opposed to.
I want to pull up this camera again and just be like, I want to have it there and be ready to just observe it anytime.
Yeah, sure. You can try and pull up a camera to observe the locations that it could be talking from.
Yeah.
Give me an operations.
Fail. Well, yeah, I fail. But will I spend
I-
luck? Yes, I'll spend some luck to pass.
Go for it. Yes, you can see it. It is looking at the screen, looking
what
at the
do you
monitor directly while holding the intercom thing literally. You can
What
see
do you
exactly what you saw before.
What do you find? Fucking call that a jab at the screen? Like,
I
is
think
that?
I think I should make a sanity roll.
Yeah, that's the time for you to make that sanity roll.
Is it is it equal to or below, or is it below with sanity?
Equal to.
I think equal
or
to
below,
is
isn't it?
Okay, because I
success.
rolled exactly my sanity.
Yeah, in that case, just
34.
one sanity.
Wow. So composed.
The most sane, low sanity person I've ever seen. Okay, I would like everyone to make me a Constitution roll, please.
Surprisingly, pass.
I fail. That's 66 over 35. I have poor con.
50 over 60.
Midshipman Fox, you are now shivering quite painfully. The cold has got to you. Take 1 hit point. You're starting to lose
Ouch.
control of your fingers.
Not good.
I will pass Midshipman Fox one of the spare blankets and the cup of tea that I brought up from the berths.
Do we have any reason to believe that going down would make it warmer?
I mean,
Apart
from
from a logical perspective, from a pre-contact logical perspective.
If there's ice at the surface, the logic would be that it's cold at the surface, so it would be warmer further away because water's an insulator. That's the best you got.
May I humbly suggest we go down a little and then make southwards to some tropical island?
But go down.
A little bit. Just until it warms up.
Does that
we've
mean
got to do something. The water's freezing back in the. It shouldn't be. I don't understand it, but it is.
You've got to reactivate the engine to do that.
Oh,
I was worried you were going to say that.
We can just we control the ballast from here, can't we?
Yeah, but you'll go very slow with the ballast.
Let's start with that. And we'll...
You fill the ballast tanks that you start to sink at about 1 meter a minute.
Okay.
A couple of meters a minute after they're fully filled, to be fair.
are there
Who
any
here knows-
temperature gauges on the like? Can we read the temperature of the external?
Oh
water?
yeah. Oh, external. I think a submarine operations to do that.
Okay. I'm too cold. I got a 91.
I was going to say I should have given you a negative dice as well for that, but it didn't matter because okay, passed, right?
Yeah. This
Okay.
is that it takes a long time, but I
Yeah.
pass.
The external temperature where you are is measuring at. I mean,
degrees.
it's basically -1 to 0. It's hovering between.
That's not that cold. But it's pretty cold actually. Let's go.
mean-
Let's down. Mr. Fox, are you any good with a firearm?
I've done standard training. I'm not. If you're referring to stats, that would be a basic level stat. No
Jenkins.
improvements.
Jenkins, the second they start to mention guns, you just know this is a bad idea. They're just going to die if they try.
So I said it before. I think I don't think we can shoot it.
Well, if it comes for us, we need something to defend ourselves with.
Well, it wants us to go down, right? And we need to get into the engine room to go down. So maybe if we just explain ourselves, then it will let us do what
It's
we need
only-
to do.
It's
Do you
only
think
said
it-
two
how-
words
does it-
to us. Over
This is the
intercom.
first time someone's actually officially confirmed that only you can hear those words.
Then let me go talk to it.
No,
You'd be safe.
Cadet
You know you'd be
Jenkins.
Oh, fuck it. I'll go with you, but I don't know what the hell's going on. But
I think we should both go to the munitions cabinet and. We don't need to shoot the thing, Jenkins, but it better not come near us.
I understand. I would like to state my advisement, but I will follow the orders of my superiors.
It's very
Who's
kind of
going
you,
to get
Cadet.
weapons?
Yeah, Reggie's getting a weapon.
If I'm allowed a weapon,
don't
I
think
will
I'm gonna
take
stop you
one.
at this point.
I'm all for arming everyone apart from Jenkins and D.
That's fine.
Is Fox going down as well?
I'll go down.
Does that leave Cadet Jenkins all by his lonesome in the command center?
Oh, hang on. I thought Jenkins was.
So I was the one that volunteered to go.
Oh, sorry. I thought you weren't going to get weapons. I see. The
Oh, I'm not
weapon
going to get
storage is
weapons
directly
yet, no.
below. Then presumably they'd have to come back up and go to the rear.
Sure.
Oh, okay, right.
Then we'll get 3 guns and we'll surreptitiously give one to Earl. That's what I think is the sensible thing to do.
I see. When your superior officers are gone, Jenkins, are you remaining and waiting for them?
That's a very good question. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call the engine room comms.
Yep.
And I'm going to say we need to come in.
You need the engines on, right?
Yes.
The engines turn on. Now,
Thank you.
go down, please. Everyone else heard the engines turn on. It was even Jenkins couldn't have got there. I mean, I think I don't know if Silas is even in the room or not in the command center, but yes, you all know the engines just turned on.
I'd be scrambling back up from the weapons locker
Yeah.
at the sound of the engines coming on.
What
Are we still
weapons do they
pointing
have?
down?
Yes, you are still pointing down.
What weapons do they have?
You have various modern assault rifles, pistols.
Cool.
That's probably it.
Yeah, we will be allowed handguns, won't we? Because we're not on.
But it's all stored. None of you are like, have your own personal handgun. It's all stored in the munitions.
Well, let's lock munitions after we exit.
I'm not going to make you roll to get that stuff. You have munitions if you want. The engine has started. You are now going down.
Well, that's convenient. And Jenkins couldn't have got down there and started it himself and come back in the time that we've had down there.
That's impossible.
Mr. Fox, we now have 3 people, which I think makes a reasonable assault party.
But what do we do? It can't be controlling the ice. It's getting colder. There's something going on. It can't be.
There is a stowaway of some kind aboard this ship, and I have no. I do not feel comfortable with it being on this ship. If it was a member of if it was any other kind of situation like this, the action would be clear. We would arrest them.
As the ship slowly descends, the cold does seem slightly to dissipate.
Can I call up the munitions room on the communication?
Oh,
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
we?
not going to make you roll.
No, I think we'll be coming up to like
Oh,
the.
you're
Okay,
talking-
if you're
right.
nearly there, then that's fine. Back at the
Yeah.
command center. Everyone back there.
What's happened, Jenkins?
The engines came back on.
That's impossible without somebody being there, Jenkins.
With respect, sir, somebody is there.
I would like O'Kane, Earl, and Fox to make a roll. I don't think Jenkins needs to make this roll. I think Jenkins has already come to this conclusion.
A sanity roll, I presume.
I passed that sanity roll.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sane, but I'm not competent.
This is an eldritch concept, so I'm going to give you one anyway for passing.
I rolled
Yeah.
a 4.
Oof.
Just the one.
Wow. I'm on 5 out of 8 lost.
What did you
sanity
roll?
points.
Did you succeed as well, Steve?
I succeeded. I rolled
Okay, so
17.
just the one.
Yeah.
People getting close. You are going down. It is very, very subtly warm.
What does the actual temperature gauge read at? Is that increasing?
Yeah, let's say it's 2 degrees now.
Cadet, do you think that our guest down in the engine room would be amenable to placing himself or herself under arrest and escorting themselves to the brig?
Nothing could hold them anyway.
I suppose so. I don't think that would stop them. But wouldn't they be more useful outside?
Jenkins, you just very unconsciously stroke your neck again. Feel like marks against the side of your neck.
I think I might go over to the comms and activate them and say, who are you and what do you want with our submarine?
What you hear is a somewhat incomprehensible muttering, but it sets your your hair on end, but it doesn't. You don't recognize any words. Jenkins, you're close enough. You hear it. You hear the words Cthulhu Fatagan, and then you hear descend with us. Please join us. There is safety. We have a new home.
I look at Fox.
Did you understand that?
Some of it.
Care to share it with the rest of the class?
He was just advising us to go down. He said it's safer down there. That was all I understood in English, at least.
How can you understand that?
I don't know.
And why are you fiddling with your neck?
Make me a
It's cold.
spot hidden. I think just Steve. It's such a specific thing that I'm not going to have the others make it right now.
I rolled a 24 under 65.
Wait, you rate 2 rolls? Oh, under 65. Sorry, gotcha. Why does Cadet Jenkins' skin look slightly grey and pallid on the side of their neck? You don't know if it. I don't know if it can seriously concerns you, but it's odd.
Shit. I nearly went somewhere quite dark. I was about to ask the question, and this won't mean anything to anybody that doesn't understand Ian Fox's backstory, but Ian Fox suddenly wondered whether there was any alcohol on the ship.
Yeah. Probably not, unfortunately for you, unless the captain's got some stowed away privately. You could try and break into the captain's cabin. Might be that sort of time now.
Don't you mean Mr. Fox's cabin?
Captain's still alive.
Oh, gosh.
I'm also thinking it might be the time to give the captain like an adrenaline shot to try and wake them up, because it's like...
Sure.
But
try.
I mean, I do think... I mean, what is the captain's state? Not unchanged, basically.
Health-wise, stable. The problem is consciousness is not there. You don't know whether he's in a coma, if he could be woken at all. You can't rouse him by any normal means.
Sure.
Head injury is obvious, but it seems to be internal, and you don't have scanners or material on this submarine to check that out.
Well, what I would, as I've said before to Mr. Fox, what O'Kane wants to do is to go down and to kill this thing, and failing that, to go south until we reach an area where we can surface. And those are the two things that I'll be suggesting forever. Once we reach like a warm temperature of like, say, I don't know, 300 meters or something. A temperature which is it's able for us to operate safely.
It's worth saying you've all been keeping an sorry, Steve. You've all been keeping an eye on the sonar. That line at the surface is absolutely unchanged, and you've moved distances in different directions. In fact, I would like someone. What role is this going to be? I'm going to say a random person. I would like Silas to make me a sonar roll.
No, I rolled 32 and I have 20, so I can't even look it out.
That's a shame. That would have been fun, but it was an unlikely one. You've noticed that and relayed what I just said to everyone else. That's fine.
So if we can't go up, then we might as well go down.
You're at 500 meters now, and the temperature outside is 5 degrees. Eventually, if you don't want to crush the submarine, you will have to decide to do something else, unless something happens. But that's well below 1,000.
I think like 500 is good enough. Like 5 degrees. That's I think we should stabilize here, and and if no one stops me, I'm going to make a move to mess with the ballast to do that, and I'll even try and change the engine of them, like re-level the ship if people were going to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes sense. I think more time has been spent now, so I'm gonna give you a hard submarine operations to try and change that. Jenkins, you think he's wrong in doing this?
I failed the submarine operations roll.
Okay. So you can change the ballast. You can change the ballast, but the submarine is still powering itself down. The ballast will not make much difference against that.
I think arguing with... I'm going to turn to Midshipman Fox, because he's currently the senior ranking officer, and say, "Sir, I think we need to keep heading down."
Silas, you're kind of out of the conversation a little bit, and you're interested in other things. The Morse code changes.
I will be attentive and try and figure it out.
Sure. Takes you a few minutes to figure it out after it repeats a couple of times while others are talking. It is a GPS coordinate. It gives depth as well.
Do I know what the depth is?
980 meters.
Oh, we've already been that far and it was fine. Okay. There would be pen and paper around, right?
Yeah,
In somewhere
yeah.
like this, but yeah,
So
especially
you're scribbling
at this
this.
particular station. Yeah, I'm noting this down. Yeah.
You're scribbling this while Mitchum and Fox and Cadet Jenkins are having this conversation.
GPS coordinates over the Morse code.
I'll head over and pick up the bit
It's
of paper.
it's a reasonably safe depth. It's where we've already been.
Can I check the location of the GPS?
Yeah, sure. With navigation, we've done that sort of thing already. The GPS is easy enough to use. It's 5 kilometers from here.
Is it in any particular, like, is it an important? It's just
it's southwest. It doesn't mean much to you.
Right.
You're already going south because of the conversations that have been had.
We can't just be following orders from Morse code of people we don't know. It could be an enemy vessel. There is no way in which we should be, with all due respect, there is no way in which we should be navigating to coordinates sent to us by an unknown source that could be a trap.
Well, the alternative is that we.
I like Bermuda. I've always wanted to go.
I suppose, Mr. O'Kane, if it is an enemy vessel, you do have the nuclear codes.
If it's an enemy vessel, well, our duty would be to stop this from falling into enemy hands. Our duty would be to ultimately scuttle this ship and make the weapons safe. And
or they could just move away. Somewhere this ice sheet, it can't go on forever. We can surface, we can confirm orders, and if there are no orders, then we can make a decision then.
Jenkins, it goes on forever. That's the whole planet now.
We're not going to be able to surface, sir.
how do you know? How can you talk to this thing?
I don't know.
Your neck is really itchy.
If there were any orders for us to get, we would have received them when we reached the ice sheet before.
We don't know that. It could be that the ice sheet was blocking them. I'm not a communications expert, but neither are you, Jenkins. In fact, I think our communications expert is somewhere unconscious in the mess.
You immediately remember the launch codes that came through, no problem at all.
Well, that was a different kind of system. I mean, I think I know that no one in this room.
I know you're
understands communications
rationalizing
well enough to think. I very clear what I want. I'm like, I think Mr. Fox. I think we need to have a decision made here, and I think unless anyone has any other plans apart from go down, I'll retire.
There's too much that doesn't make sense here. If your plan is to try and ram us through the ice, I don't think that will work.
The ice has to stop somewhere.
No, it doesn't.
The ice has to stop somewhere.
So we were at a fair depth when the water was freezing in.
Yeah, you were
So-
like 50 to 100 meters. You're now at about 500, 550.
Look, Jenkins, if you can talk to that thing, then don't know. Are we going to get any further explanation? I don't know what we can do.
Are you going to try and talk to it again?
Yes.
Okay. You open comms, the whole submarine. What do you say?
Excuse me.
Sorry to bother you.
I don't know what to do.
Everyone else gets a screeching, horrible spitting sound through the speakers. Jenkins hears, "Hush, child. It must all be so confusing for you. Hush now. We promise you will be safe. All you need to do is go to where we have sent you. Sadly, I am sorry to tell you this world of yours has gone, as have most. But there is a place we may all be safe. A place of dreams."
Ooh. How can I convince midshipmen to follow this?
Concerned glances from
The machine you are in will not last forever. The ice above is endless. They must all see that now. They are welcome with
don't.
us. All will join. Tell them that. They will be safe, welcomed. The great master loves us all.
And what do I do if they won't listen?
If you cannot get there soon, you will all die. We don't want that.
Understood. We'll hang up.
As I said, everyone else just heard that as screeching.
It said that there's nothing up there anymore. And that those coordinates are the only safe place in the world. And that we can't stay here forever. And they're right. We can't maintain a submarine with 4 sets of hands.
Well, perhaps we should take a look at the coordinates. Perhaps we should go there, see what we can see.
Good.
Dr. Earl, do you have any other suggestions?
At the moment, we're sitting here and our limited time is passing, so any action is better than no action, I think.
Okay, and I know you want to find a way out of this. I just don't. I don't think there is one. If you're suggesting we simply carry on, the water temperatures They were getting colder. They shouldn't have been that cold at that depth.
You've stayed at 500 meters now for about half an hour, and the temperature's dropped by a degree.
We wouldn't have received those launch codes if something hadn't happened. I don't know what it is.
Mr. Fox, you don't have to convince me. You have heard my opinions and the benefits of having a chain of command. You don't have to convince me. You've heard my opinion. Tell us what you'd like to do.
Then I think we should head towards that location, but we should be prepared to scuttle this vessel.
Aye, aye.
Does anyone have any... Sorry, go on, John. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I don't think we'll need to, but I understand.
If no one else has any... Does anyone else have any Hail Marys they're planning, as in they're not planning on going along with this secretly and doing something else? If that is not the case, go on.
I do. Can we do silent running with this crew, or is it just not functional to try and do that?
From what I've
with this damaged submarine and everything else as well, I don't
Yeah.
think you could. It's quite quiet anyway, relatively speaking.
the interesting thing, sorry, butting in here. The interesting thing that I read today about nuclear-powered submarines is that you can't go full silent running because they generate heat. They always generate heat. They've always got the pumps running for cooling. So.
But relatively speaking, they're always quite quiet.
Do we need
Probably the
cooling
noisiest
pumps?
thing by far on the submarine is the broken stern hatch, because that'll be making all sorts of disturbance in the water. But nothing you can do about it. Assuming no one is acting immediately, I'm going to go into a narrative finish now. So you descend. The water does indeed get slightly warmer. Cadet Jenkins, you've made the right decision. You feel good. You feel comfortable. You don't hear a thing from whatever is in the back. As you're descending a little further, you note that an alarm goes off. The stern airlock door has been opened, and a few seconds later, it closes again. You don't have time to engage the camera to find out what happened, but the water is sealed and repressurized at the back. You descend further, 800, 900 meters. And then you don't really have a lot of control about your exact direction. You're just trying to kind of find the approximate. It's quite difficult, to be honest, because you're not familiar with steering a submarine at all, and you have little in the way of external sensors. Something shows up on the sonar that you can't quite interpret, like a ring or something. It's very strange. You're not really sure whether to head to it or pause without further information. When the submarine is moving without you having impact upon it, as if pushed or moved or dragged slowly towards the ring. I think you all probably consider scuttling the submarine. Well, Jenkins probably doesn't. The three of you all consider scuttling the submarine at this point, but no decision can really be made about it. I don't think you have the conviction anymore that this is some sort of enemy action or something like that. And the desperation in you that perhaps there is some salvation probably takes over. You're pushed towards this ring and then through it. Slowly, as you move through it, everything changes. A light moves over you. Warmth washes over you. You're no longer in the cold. You feel lighter. Literally. Your feet tiptoe on the ground. You feel like you weigh a quarter what you used to. Strange sounds come from outside, and then a voice booms in all of your heads at the same time. Welcome home, children. You shall be taken care of here. And we'll end the session there.
Dire.
Did we have fun?
That was good.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Cool. I enjoyed that. That was fun. I had to do a little bit of suspension of disbelief with a few things. Like I really wanted you to be alone on a submarine. I'm like, that's a lot of people. Screw it. But yeah, it was fun. When you said there was no pilot, I was like, well, at least you can have a pilot then, who's not going to be very helpful.
So where did everyone go? Because we didn't find 94 bodies.
Have we got? Oh, the people in the back. Yeah, they went to their salvation.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
You can read that as you will.
Cool.
Most people were in the back when that happened. They were called there. Anyone got any theories about what it was, perhaps before we do questions?
So
What the overall plot line was? I'll do questions as well, but go on, theories, I'm curious. Go on, John.
I got a feeling that it turned into like a sunshine situation and the sun just went out.
You'd be correct. Yep. The sun has gone, utterly and entirely. Why do you think the sun has gone?
I just think some things are worth not knowing. You know, I
That's
don't
okay, we can
care.
leave it at
I don't want to know. I don't want to know where the sun's gone. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that the sun's gone. I don't
I'm sure O'Kane does not.
Yeah, I'd be shaking my fist generally in Azathoth's direction again, but that might not be the case.
That was the direction I went with it. There's multiple different versions of Azathoth waking, and I was like, I don't think the universe blipping out of existence is quite as fun as the most significant things in the dream go away. So the Earth is solely insignificant, so it stays put, but the sun is annoying, so that's gone. That's actually a part of the dream. So that's a problem for Earth, as it turns out. So I had a slightly exaggerated version of the sun disappearing immediately. It wouldn't get that cold that fast, but screw physics for fun. It was fun.
That's great.
You were rescued by...
I can't believe this.
Cthulhu.
It's ridiculous.
only because Cadet Harry Jenkins was on board.
Wow.
Cadet Harry, not even Vlad Jenkins, but
Fish.
Jenkins.
That's Harry Vladimirov Jenkins.
I literally didn't have that plan at all in it. I was just like a fluky, you're the last remaining humans alive and you're wanted as a collection. And then I was like, oh, wait.
You're wanted as... Sorry, what now?
You're wanted to collect. You're wanted because you're interesting. You're the only remaining humans in existence.
Right, you didn't mention that, Harry, Mr. Fish Jenkins.
No one told me that bit.
Well, that's different.
Surely
Because
other
Jenkins
submarines
made
were
it
running.
different. The fact that Jenkins, because the fact that you were 19, I was like, wait a minute, that matches perfectly. Because I hadn't planned it originally. In the last few days, I changed the plot a bit to make it so that actually you were a Deep One hybrid. And that meant that there was more reason to save the ship. And it gave me more way to communicate, which made it a bit easier.
Does that only come out in the 20s then?
Sorry?
Does the deep one...
It's like,
late teens to early 20s is when it starts to manifest.
I am very unattractive, so that does track.
Perfect.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so the plot line was Azathoth. Do you know where you went, by the way? Any guesses? That's probably a long shot.
no, I don't care to know.
No, I like Cthulhu's mentioned, like passing through rings doesn't sound great.
Because I love it, go full on sci-fi with this sort of thing is always fun. In my sci-fi plot line, well, did I write it down? I think it was, Enceladus is where you are. The moon of Saturn with a deep ocean beneath it, a deep water ocean that theoretically a submarine would absolutely be able to navigate.
Nice.
The only other place in the solar system as such. And do you know why the story was called Waking Dreams?
Is it because of the things?
Well, what is
Azathoth woke
I don't
and
know.
Cthulhu lies dreaming?
Yep. So Cthulhu, well, the only way that Cthulhu may retain any sort of existence, because Cthulhu is, of course, also a dream of Azathoth, is by maintaining a little bit of the dream, just a little bit. And that's where you are.
So we effectively saved Cthulhu then. If we need to...
I mean, I don't think it was all hinging on you.
So the next thing we need to do is fire a nuke to reignite the sun? Am I following that plot
I hadn't
correctly?
plotted a salvation from the waking of Azathoth. I'm not going to lie.
It depends on whether the sun's gone out or gone.
Yeah.
If it's gone, then that's
Because
Mine, it
if
was
so,
like-
we're just flying off into
Yeah.
uncharted space.
That was the plan. And it wasn't meant to be a you can win scenario.
Never
you managed
is.
you managed the best, which was not die. I had a full plan for if you nuke the surface of the ice as well.
Okay.
It was a shorter game.
It was a shorter game.
Oh God.
But yeah, that was fun. I started with a big concept and just worked back to how horrible it would be to be a nuclear submarine after the sun's gone.
I was for most until like the getting colder so quickly type thing. I was like, is this just a nuclear holocaust? Like
that was sort of what I
my
thought you would think it was. Exactly.
first thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, this seems worse than a nuclear holocaust, and it also doesn't seem to really mesh with the deep ones.
Yeah,
you know.
So obviously we all play with the Eldritch lore as much as we want to for stories, and Cthulhu maintaining own waking dream. It's always just a manipulation of. But that's what I quite liked about reading Eldritch lore stuff. Is like you can kind of just play with it as you will for your own stories, which is quite fun, and as long as it broadly fits. That's nice. Like I'm sure I didn't do Azathoth waking as some people might interpret, but it doesn't matter.
Do you have any good comments?
Yeah. Do you want to bring any comments or questions up?
I liked this one. Harry's
Always
only
good
an
stuff from
attractive
Don't
because he's
Kick
not at the correct pressure depth.
Just
Harry's
wait.
the blobfish of the group.
Yeah.
That's
He's now
perfect.
super attractive for a fish, man.
Love it.
Hey, in the planet of fish people.
I this was mine when Sam described the deep one. I'm imagining the mermaid from Red Dwarf.
A lot of Red Dwarf jokes.
Literally just it's just a giant fish with legs and arms, isn't it?
Yeah, it basically is. Yeah.
And we had this comment from Luna Lecce. A good scenario, but I can't help but think it would work better with temporary and permanent stress mechanic from Alien RPG.
You actually did quite well in that, rolling your sanity stuff. I did throw a lot of sanity at you, and broadly speaking, you didn't do too badly.
I think I 4 sanity damage or something.
Yeah, it's always tentative because you always like at the early game you want to knock it back. I think this game has a brilliant sanity system, but one of the downsides of it is as a GM, it's quite hard to manage the balance because when a one shot, I want to push you just to that line, and that's really hard to find. Like, I don't want to push you too far, but I also would like at least one player to hit it. No one did this.
I would want one person.
It's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, it's always fun, but it's really hard to actually get that perfect place. But if you get it right, the sanity system's great.
And
the slight issue with the Alien stress and panic system is it's great until you start getting repeats on the panic tables. So as soon as you start getting, you've dropped your weapon again.
Yeah,
you're such butterfingers.
Whereas this game has massive depth in the sanity section. There's so much in there. I'm a little sad we didn't touch it, but there was plenty to do. So.
But I feel like because a lot of that, when you hit that like temporary insanity loss, then it can debilitate a character for such an amount of time.
Yeah.
That in like a high pressure, short time span one shot like this, it kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
when you hit the roll, that's like, oh, you're incapacitated for a week. Well, this one shot only took like. It was over a span of like 2 hours.
Yeah.
In game time. So.
Well, it's you go. You have a bout of madness, which is immediate, and then you can get phobia or mania, and then basically the insanity effect lasts for just however long. It can be weeks or months. The bout of madness isn't actually too long, so you can recover from that. But if you take one more sanity, you immediately have another bout of madness, and that will be for the whole rest of the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you could interpret it differently. It's kind of leaves it open again. One of them is once you've got indefinite insanity, you're just gone until you see a psychoanalyst. So, yeah.
Do I have any others? I did also just quite like this interaction. It was between Justin and Jonny. A fire would help keep warm, no? And Jonny, we foolishly put out all the fires.
What? I can't believe you didn't plan for that.
Kept them burning.
Chuck the oxygen candles on them.
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot of... Go on.
The Call of Cthulhu Insanity mechanic has always been written primarily for a campaign, when I think Call of Cthulhu has probably played more short stories and one-shots than many other systems. It's been an issue for years, and more stress-like mechanic would be a good idea.
Yeah,
with all due respect, I don't think there's who's this a Telling Tales RP person? What do they
Who does this guy think he is?
Yeah, what does this person know about mechanics?
I broadly agree. I reckon a stress-like mechanic that doesn't do the same stress thing and instead links to the wonderful sound system in this game would be really satisfying. Because the slow ticking down, it doesn't really work for a one-shot. Exactly. And as I said, it's really hard to manage from a GM's perspective in a short space of time. So, yeah.
Ooh, I also like this fan theory from Shard Collector. My thought was that the whole atmosphere was taken away and therefore it got so cold.
Yeah, I kind of thought of that, but then I couldn't think of a physics reason why the sun going out would immediately remove the atmosphere. So I was like, yeah,
that is
maybe.
important in a
Yeah, it didn't really matter. That's the thing.
Story.
Well, I thought I can just say, yeah, the atmosphere is gone. I'm like, well, they don't know anyway. They're literally not going to reach, so it doesn't matter. If you broke the surface, you would have found that it was so shockingly, hideously cold, you would have died within a minute anyway. So I don't think the breathing would have mattered very much.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yes. How long would it take the... Anyway, sorry, yeah. Earth's core.
I did do research on this. If the actual atmosphere was still there, it's like weeks before the Earth starts cooling down to a seriously dangerous degree. The lack of light is almost more a problem in some ways. But
we've been underway for quite a while, so we might have not noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I didn't imagine this story being over multiple days, but it could have been. I imagined it being about a day.
It could. I was thinking like maybe it happened like a week ago, like shortly after we went
like
down,
when we first submerged. Yeah.
True.
And then like at some point these fish people are like, should we give them a little nudge to let them know that now is the time that they need to fucking not.
Yeah, that's actually quite a fun idea. I hadn't thought of it that way. That could have been quite good. Yeah.
What caused the initial damage, by the way?
So I hypothetically, no one has really researched this, imagined that if the sun suddenly disappeared, it's going to cause a significant like geothermal shift in the Earth's orbit because the Earth goes from spinning to stationary, and we'll feel that, right? The Earth is no longer being held in by sun's gravity. This is kind of wishy-washy. You might say yes, you might say no. I don't think we really would.
No, I don't think we know. That is true.
But in my Eldritch setting, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. There's a massive earthquake at the same moment, and that's the main thing that does the damage. So being underwater, and you were quite close to the bottom, basically, at that point as well. I was going to say it was just a huge earthquake that you were basically, it was like a Richter scale 11 across the whole Earth sort of thing.
Yeah, like what happens to a submarine if they're in a tsunami?
I'd never thought of that.
Pretty bad stuff.
That was my first thought when I was like, "Oh, we had a crash." I was like, "Well, maybe a tsunami."
Exactly.
Like,
anyone else got any?
Tell us in the
questions
comments.
from players?
I don't think there's anything else in chat.
No, cool. That was fun. So much, like 80% of the work I did for this was just submarine research. I was like, I got my big plot. And then I just your characters and like a few names, and then the rest of it was all just submarine because it was all about the realism of your environment and stuff like that. It worked though, I think. So.
Oh yeah, it worked really well, I reckon.
From 4242, Sam said he creeped himself out coming up with a part of the scenario. What part of it?
So what it was, it's kind of the big concept really of just really getting into the nitty gritty of being trapped. Utterly, like you can't surface. That's it. You're stuck in the submarine as far as you're aware for the rest of your life. That's it. What? You can never go out ever. And the idea of it being closed in, and I just kept going round and round my head in that with circles, and I was really creeping myself out. I probably should have laboured that a bit more in this story, but things were going on in action. You'll get a chance to labour that in your future on Zelda's with Cthulhu.
Fun. Just I was sitting around, cup of tea, Cthulhu.
I also like the idea of Harry Jenkins gradually turning into a fish person on the submarine while everyone else is like, well, we can't hurt you, but this is weird. And then one day,
I'm going to say, Jenkins.
I'm going to go outside now, folks. I promise I'll come back and say hi at some point.
I'm just going to get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Amazing.
I was considering if we didn't dive and everyone else decided to go off, maybe seeing if I could escape through the hatch.
Yeah, I had a plot point for that too, thinking you might. Thing is, it does say that it takes a long time for you to be able to breathe underwater from first transformation. So I was like, might have been a bit unpleasant. And also, you didn't have the strength to do what it did and open and close the airlock against the water flow.
I've just flooded the ship.
Yeah, you just flooded the ship and killed the players.
Fair.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do, eh?
See, they're so
You'd
polite.
have died anyway.
That one even left without hurting you. Wasn't it very polite?
Yes. This is
I'm
the
really not
most
liking that this twist of like, do you know that the Cthulhu mythos, they're just nice people. Like, they're just trying to help
They're
out.
just misunderstood. Yeah.
It's
Literally,
so misunderstood.
my lore reason literally was just that they don't care at all about you. They just know that there's 3 remaining humans left and a few unconscious people on the submarine, And that's interesting, right?
When the
They know
captain
that
wakes
the
up,
whole
he's
Earth is going to be
so
wiped out and
pissed.
nothing will remain. Hey, there's actually a way to get this submarine to go with us. That would be cool. I literally imagine that's a thing.
We're basically Noah's Ark.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just imagining a big fish tank with a small sub sort of floating around in it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're now pet fish.
You are, yeah.
Ah, pish.
Cool. Well, if we're all happy with that and we've got no more questions, I'll say thanks very much for joining us, folks. It's been really good. Great to have all the comments and questions in chat. I've really enjoyed it. And it's been a great session. I've really enjoyed doing this story as well. I've had it in my head for a while. It's been nice to get it out. Nice to run Call of Cthulhu as well. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, once again, we're telling tales. Please check out our social media below. Discord's all good to chat. Please check out Twitch. You're already here, some of you, and YouTube. There's loads of stuff on there to go back and have a look at. We stream on Mondays. Fasten. We stream on Wednesdays. Not Call of Cthulhu. Simba Room. And we do one shots. This is one. There will be one next month on a Sunday sometime. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks very much for joining us. Do we have any notifications to read out, by the way, John? Or are we okay? Like people who've joined or something? Okay, we're all good. Sorry, you would have said that. Okie dokie, folks. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.